There are a ton of games coming out, but here are over 20 games you should absolutely wishlist right now so you do not miss out. Number 1, we have Moros Protocol. Moros Protocol looks like a boomer shooter in the best way possible. It is a pixel-painted sci-fi FPS roguelike where every battle is for survival. You are stranded on a decaying warship stalked by horrors and guided by a voice you don't recognize, and you must adapt, upgrade, and push forward. You may be outnumbered, but you are not outmatched. The art style alone in this game sold me, and then when I saw the gameplay footage, I knew this was a game I had to add to my collection. It is set in a low-poly world. Moros Protocol blends fast-paced combat of classic 90s and early 2000s FPSs, and blends the unpredictable genre of roguelites and the challenge of Souls-like boss fights. I'm very excited because this is a game that benefits enormously from procedurally generated levels, which will have evolving threats, intense action, and the survival that is never guaranteed. Not only does the game boast roguelike progression system where death is only the beginning, where you learn and upgrade, and then one of the best parts for me is the drop-in co-op, so you can team up with a friend for backup, adapt and survive together as you battle through the nightmare. So experience the full game side by side, sharing the fight against the enemy. Wishlist this game now and look forward for the full release on September 4th. Moving on, we have GCS Salvage Rat. Salvage Rat is a gritty first-person space sim where you mine, trade, fight, and salvage across a procedurally generated universe. And I know you've probably heard that before thinking back to No Man's Sky, but to me, this game is adding what No Man's Sky never had. Full-on rewarding combat and a permadeath system with full ship customization. I'm just excited to explore the universe, land on enemy ships, get in firefights, board their vessel, and take them down from the inside. And it has a normal-looking inventory management system where you customize your character, you put loot on them, and you progress. It just looks to be one of those games where you just have fun and the gameplay writes itself. Outside of Starfield, we really haven't had a rewarding space adventure exploration game that has proper combat in it. So the key features of this game are as follows. It has dual gameplay modes, so you pilot your spacecraft in full first person, then breach derelict stations and contract sites in immersive FPS mission. Then of course there's the massive procedural universe, so you can explore up to potentially 1,000 plus hand-seeded star systems, each procedurally generated with dynamic NPCs and salvage contracts. So I'm excited to know what dynamic NPCs are. There's also the ship customization, so you can equip mining lasers, turrets, armor plating, missile bays, just fully tailored to your playstyle. Then it has true permadeath, where death is final, but your achievements, your rank, your exploits, they live on in the game's legacy records. It has a proper economy and faction warfare, so trade across stations, accept high-risk salvage jobs, and navigate a web of procedurally generated NPC factions under 7 major alliances. This is one of those games that sounds like you can play forever, and I'm all for it. And then finally, best of all, there's no waiting, there's no matchmaking, just play. So it's designed from the ground up for solo players who want an immediate, high-stakes gameplay with no dependency on others. Wishlist this game now and get ready to play it on August 29th of this year. Moving on, we have Gangsters Way. Gangsters Way is a dynamic, adrenaline-fueled third-person fighting game where you step into the shoes of street gangster John Brown. Challenge the mafia and earn respect and a place in the criminal underworld through fists and blood. This is basically your classic beat 'em up with awesome combos just put in a third-person over-the-shoulder perspective. The gameplay delivers hardcore melee combat reminiscent of street brawl. So you'll face numerous opponents alone, requiring you to utilize the full arsenal of the street fighting. So you combine powerful attacks like chains, you can dodge incoming attacks, and you can even execute deadly special moves to take down enemies one by one. It's definitely not the best looking game as far as graphics go. It actually almost looks like it could be a PlayStation 3 game, but the gameplay is seemingly making up for that. There's a game I used to play back in the day called Urban Reign on the PlayStation 2, and it is very reminiscent of it. So I'm excited to get my hands on this one and just beat up other street fighting thugs. You can wishlist this game right now and get ready to play it on August 27th. Up next, we have External Exiles Beneath the Darkness. External Exiles is a dark fantasy shooter where the dead know no rest. Journey through nightmarish dimensions where survival hinges on magic and firepower. Every upgrade, spell, and choice leads to the salvation or demise. Uncover the truth or let it consume you. This is a very dark and gritty looking Doom clone where it combines the gameplay of a magic system and a shooter. The core features of this game are exploring ruins of a forgotten era to uncover their ancient secrets, with diverse locations teeming with unanswered questions until you find the answer. It tells us you'll need every tool to fend off the hordes of the undead, wield and upgrade a brutal arsenal to survive this unforgiving journey. Every slain undead leaves behind a shard of its soul, and you gather them to grow stronger. So you'll fight legions of these damned, from twisted abominations to corrupted generals, their flesh rotten to the core by darkness. The gameplay just looks fun. If you're a fan of Doom clones and you like a dark, gritty aesthetic, then I think External Exile should absolutely be on your radar. You can wishlist this now and get ready to play it on August 20th. Up next, we have Ragdore. Ragdore is a physics-driven sandbox where limbs fly, bones snap, and movement changes with every injury. Experiment with traps, crushers, trampolines, and more in colorful maps designed for creative destruction and dynamic ragdoll mayhem. If you know anything about me and this channel, you know I love weird games like this where it gives ragdolls and brutal physics, so I'm very excited about this game. It's basically like a people's playground torture simulation, somewhat also akin to Human Fall Flat in a way. The good thing is, it is a single player physics sandbox where the damage just isn't decoration, it's the entire point of the game. Chop ankles and hands off and still be expected to move around the map. So you can tear apart a fully simulated character. You can break the bones, rip the limbs off, get crushed, stabbed, blown up. The movements are dynamic, and what's left of your body is what you have to stumble around with. And when the game launches, it's going to offer 3 different sandbox maps at launch. There's Ragdoll Park. It's a colorful playground of giant slides and ramps, redesigned for chaotic ragdoll tumbling. Then you have the Crazy Mountain, which is a high altitude fall map just for pure ragdoll carnage. And then finally, you have the Polygonal map, a dense industrial testing facility packed with interactable hazards. There's crushers, shredders, spike straps, trampolines, explosive barrels, saws, and more. It's just the perfect torture map for these poor ragdolls. So basically, going into it, it's a sandbox game, so just know there's no set goal. It's just a raw experience. A lot of you might consider this a quote-unquote tech demo, but honestly, that's just where the chaotic fun of physics-based destruction is. There's no plot, there's no goal, it's just chaos. So there's a fully simulated character damage and movement, carefully placed map hazards, there's a dummy NPC for testing and creative abuse, and of course, stylized visuals with realistic physical reactions. Whether you're launching your character into a shredder or crawling your way without limbs, Ragdore turns pain into pure entertainment. Wishlist the game now and get ready to play it sometime in August. Up next, we have Battlement. Battlement is an old school couch co-op where you fight your friends with elemental warriors that harness powerful magic. So choose to challenge your friends in the many game modes such as tag or duels, and slaughter them in unique places like Peace Grounds or Castle's Edge. For lack of a better term, this is basically a Smash clone with stylized pixelated graphics where you basically can't tell when this game came out in the timeline of humanity, but the game just looks really cool. Here's some things they list you can do in the game. You can have brutal slaughter fights with 2 to 4 elemental warriors. Play a good old game of tag with a twist, of course. Now, there's only 8 elemental warriors is what it looks like, and 6 maps as well. But then it also lists there's 9 game modes, so hopefully it doesn't get too stale. Another cool thing is the game gives you special moves akin to Smash Brothers. We can apparently inflict wild wounds, whatever that means. And then if you charged up enough energy, there's transformations into Ultra Mode to unlock your inner beast. Basically, if you're looking for like an old school like couch game where you're going to play with your friends and just fight each other, almost like a party game, then I think Battlement is a game you should be adding to your wait list. So if you're looking for one of those old school battle games where you're just fighting your friends, maybe even doing some co-op and fighting the computer, then you'll know exactly what this type of game is. You can wishlist it now and get ready to play it on August 18th. Moving on, we have Voidbreaker. Voidbreaker basically is another roguelike FPS. But the game looks so cool, and you're fighting machines, and the visuals and explosions look awesome. Apparently, you're supposed to escape an endless cycle where you're fighting like hostile AI. But the cool thing is craft infinite weapon variants with deep gun modding, forge deadly synergies, and carve your way through enviro destruction, where basically a lot of the map can break. I'm just really excited to get my hands on this one and try out their unlimited gun customization. But I love the way the game looks, the explosions, how the weapons handle, and it also looks like you have some cool powers at your disposal as well. And not to mention a lot of enemies on screen where you're also destroying a lot of the environment. This game looks insane like a roguelike. If you're looking for an FPS roguelike that has lightning fast gameplay and flawless movements where you kind of have to be almost perfect, basically like an FPS shmup, I think this is the game that you've been waiting for. Apparently there's infinite weapons and infinite possibilities, so get ready to discover unlimited weapon customization using the Ultimate Gun modding system, so you can strategically combine mods to create devastating loadouts. Which also means you could probably create some awful loadouts as well. One of the features I'm most excited about though is the destruction, the Battlefield DICE style destruction where you're not just blowing up robots, you're blowing up the environment. It's basically a core gameplay mechanic. This game looks awesome. I'm excited to get my hands on it, and it is developed by one single solo dev. Wishlist the game right now, and it comes out on August 20th. Moving on, we have Fallen City Brawl. If you like the old school Streets of Rage games and also Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, then I'm pretty sure Fallen City Brawl should sell itself. But basically you brawl through the city in a hard-hitting pixel art style inspired by those old games I just spoke about, where it's a side-scroll beat-em-up. Enough said, it looks awesome. Games of this era, if you played them in the arcades, were quarter eaters, but you would have so much fun with your brothers or your friends. The cool thing about this game, other than it being stylized, it's not necessarily just a copy of those games from yesteryear. Pretty much everything is animated, from the backgrounds to the sprites. Everything is much larger and easier to see as well. And of course, the best part is it's not just playable solo, it's co-op with your friend. And I should mention, it's local co-op, not online. On game's launch, there will be 8 stages of arcade-inspired action, and you can choose between 4 playable characters. It also says to execute combos with special and deep hand-to-hand combat mechanics, so it's not just 2 or 3 buttons that you used to press back in the day. There's pickups like firearms and bats and pipes to use as well. And also there's going to be some special attacks. So if all you needed to hear was modern day Streets of Rage, then this game is for you. So get ready to wishlist it. The game comes out on August 12th. Up next we have Kingsblade. Have you ever played Golden Axe or that older side-scrolling Dungeons and Dragons game? Well, that's pretty much what Kingsblade is. It's a classic beat 'em up, but it's inspired by Conan the Barbarian universe, Golden Axe, and of course Streets of Rage again. But the game just looks awesome. It basically looks like if you had a coloring book come to life when you were in like junior high or early high school. The puppet style movement with the spells, the combat, the action just really just looks so good, and it works so well together. Not only can you wishlist it now, but the game also has a playable demo that's obviously free to play. But similar to Streets of Rage and Fallen City Brawl, you know exactly what you're getting into with a game like this one. So if you're a fan of these side-scroller beat-em-ups, this is the game for you. And of course, not only is it single player, but it is also shared screen with local co-op. Get ready to play Kingsblade on August 7th. Moving on, we have The RPG. You're probably wondering, what the hell is this game? Well, The RPG is a minimalistic Skyrim plus West of Loathing plus Superland. It's an RPG light adventure with intentionally twisted traditional roleplay game aspects where your choices actually matter. The game may look kind of cutesy and out there, but there seems to be a lot of depth to this game and even tons of NPC interactions and world building. I'm very excited to see what they mean by your choices actually mattering. Like, is it possible just for a dragon to attack a city and wipe out everyone and then you have no more NPCs there to talk to? I think the game looks cool. The action is obviously pretty simple, but if you're a fan of Skyrim and Oblivion, you'll know exactly what action you're looking for here. Fire a spell, shoot an arrow, swing a sword with like 3 animations. But the fun is being in the world and experiencing what this game has to offer. The game has a free demo you can download right now and just try it out. So there's nothing to lose. But it has like these really easy to pick up and use systems that just make gameplay smooth. So it says you don't need any food or anything to heal, just pluck a piece of bread and stick it into the wound. And there's no need to pick what you're going to sell to a merchant. Everything you collect is simply considered loot, and you just sell a pile of loot by weight. There is an inventory and leveling up, but there's no complex skill trees or heavy inventory management system. And there is a dragon, which is the main antagonist. It constantly glitches and breaks the game's rules, which is supposed to happen. And find out why. We don't want to spoil it right now. But there's no fishing mini game, so I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. The game has dungeons, which is like a twisted Disneyland, where basically you go to the island's administrator and then they set you up with the dungeon, which is funny, which apparently you can completely flip the storyline by doing so. Now, the combat we spoke about before, it's It's simple, but in a good way. You can block, you can swing, you can shoot stuff, cast magic. Like I said, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into by playing this. But the good thing is there's plenty of exploration. It literally tells you to stock up on torches because there's a lot to explore in this game. So if you're looking to play pretty much a minimalistic Skyrim with like a new visual style, then I think the RPG is something you should check out. Like I said, you can check out the demo for free right now. Wishlist the game. It comes out on August 7th. Moving on, we have Market Garden. Market Garden lets you relive the golden era of World War II shooters, bringing classic old school FPS action back to its roots. Experience the game's airborne operation Market Garden in a game that pays tribute to both genre's finest moments and the real historical event. Now, does the game look a little Robloxy? Yes, it definitely does, but it also looks cool. I love the World War II theme and the more blocky-like aesthetic with the film grain and the colors they use. It sells it. It does look really cool. Now, this might be more of a shorter game, but it's a classic linear single-player experience with fast-paced combat, boots on the ground, and satisfying gunplay and intense action. So if you're looking for a game that plays like the older school Medal of Honor and the older Call of Duty campaigns, that's what this is trying to give you. Now here's the kicker. It says you're never fighting alone. It's you and your brothers in arms, but what does that mean exactly? Well, Market Garden was an enormous operation involving over 80,000 soldiers, and you'll feel every bit of the same scale in this game. So apparently they're trying to get rid of the unauthentic one man versus an army experience where you're not a superhero. You're just supposed to be a guy in war, just another soldier trying to survive the chaos. And not only is it just a normal FPS, you can also get in the vehicle like a tank, which gives you tank missions, which is cool looking. So if you played games like the older Call of Duties, like Medal of Honor, or more importantly, like the older Brothers in Arms games, I think this might be the game that's scratching that itch that you've been having. And not only does this game have its normal campaign, it also has something called the Endless Defense mode, which I wonder could be more of a horde style operation. So this looks good and sounds exciting. You can wishlist this game right now and get ready to play it on August 1st. Moving on, we have First Squadron Phoenix. This is a game on the list I am extremely excited for. It is basically Star Fox, like almost patent infringingly so Star Fox. You have anthropomorphic pilots that you play as in an on-rails shooter, and it's basically Star Fox. It's Star Fox. Nintendo hates the Star Fox franchise, so someone else had to do it. First Squadron just looks so fun to play. Like I said, if you're a fan of Star Fox, you know exactly what you are getting going into. I played the demo myself, and it is everything I wanted. I have no idea why Nintendo basically abandoned the Star Fox series, but it's cool to see someone else take up the mantle. I just hope that they can escape the clutches of Nintendo with what they've worked on. The game is single player, has a story and awesome gameplay. You can wishlist this game right now and get your hands on it, and it's going to come out sometime Q4 of 2025. Moving on, we have Mortal Crux. Mortal Crux is an action RPG set in a sprawling medieval world where you can play alone or you can party up with 3 other players for a total of a 4-player co-op experience. You go from your cozy cottages to mysterious frozen lands, take on quests, meet characters, and survive brutal combat, and this is an homage to the old ARPGs of the early 2000s. Basically, it looks like it's an advanced version of Diablo 2 with some really cool new combat. It's like a blend of like a Souls-like game with Diablo in the best way possible. And there's still some stealth options too, which could be a little interesting, especially for this game genre. But overall, the game looks really cool. It looks very fun to play, especially not only just from a single player standpoint, but from a multiplayer. This is awesome. There also seems to be a lot of different interactions you can do in the world, so there's more than just your basic combat. Of course, there's like melee and magic and whatnot, but there's also like traps where you can like drop things on enemies' heads. There's that stealth system we talked about. You can jump on top of larger creatures like trolls and take them down, Shadow of War style. The cool thing is Mortal Crux is also a non-linear ARPG, so it's set in a high fantasy medieval world. It's designed for single player and co-op, which is cool, so it's not just a drop in, drop out where it doesn't matter. The whole game is entirely self-funded and being developed by a single developer. So go ahead and wishlist Mortal Crux right now. It's listed as coming soon, so we don't actually have a solid release date just yet. And my favorite thing is the game is full gamepad support, which is I'm all for ARPGs. Up next, we have Soul Quest. In Soul Quest, you carve your path through hordes of enemies to find the god's deceased power of Morrigan, the goddess of death, and retrieve the soul of your beloved. Soul Quest combines amazing gameplay with the unique Celtic mythology into one. It's an action-packed adventure. This is like your traditional side-scroller just brought into modern times with crazy combos. It's like playing an advanced version of Castlevania plus an anime mixed into one thing, and the result is beautiful. There's regular mobs that you fight as well as bosses. There's even like a Cyclops you can take on. The cool thing is this game has a demo that you could play right now before you even wishlist the game, which I would recommend doing because it's free to do so. This is an awesome looking hack and slash that boasts about its free-form combat system, and that's honestly what I'm so excited about. It's not just pressing one button. It's kind of like a Devil May Cry side scroller. The game looks awesome with its aesthetics, with its pixelated, almost hand-drawn art style. The gameplay looks very fun as well and has non-stop action against hordes of enemies as well as traversal traps and the normal pitfalls you would find in a game like this one. So go ahead, download the demo, wishlist the game, but Soul Quest is currently dated as TBA, so more info to come soon. Moving on, we have Darklight Survivor. This game looks so cool. It is so interesting to see the different shifts of perspective in a game like this. It takes place in a dying multiverse. The Phantom Train is your last hope. You traverse a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk world of nightmarish creatures, experience dynamic shifts between top-down and third-person views, deep customization and epic battles across the universe in this action roguelike survival game. What sold it for me was the perspective shifts between top-down and third-person action, as well as the pixelated look to the more traditional behind the camera with decent-looking graphics. Not to mention the gameplay looks awesome. It's like you're doing a horde adventure twin-stick game that you could just completely shift the perspective in. The game is single-player, which I totally don't mind because the gameplay looks absolutely awesome, and you can seamlessly switch between these perspectives. It's not just the game doing it. You control the difference between top-down and close-up third-person for the more tactical or immersive gameplay. And that's a change between the cinematic graphics and the retro-style graphics. The game also talks about deep customizations where you collect different armors and gears and upgrade your weapons to adapt to the relentless challenges of said multiverse. I am excited to get my hands on this one. Unfortunately, there's no demo to pick up and play, but you can wishlist this game right now. It is listed as TBA, so more info to come soon. Moving on, we have Trinity 64. Trinity 64 looks like it's completely inspired by games of yesteryear in the 90s. If this doesn't scream Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, then I don't know what other game can. It is a Souls-like monster tamer inspired by said games of those 90s, where you fight and form bonds with powerful creatures, explore a ruined world, and uncover secrets within a dungeon and bosses that lurk in them. There's not too much info on the Steam page, but I was able to source a clip from Twitter to check out. The moment I took a peek at this game, I knew I had to add it to my wish list. Trinity 64 is listed as TBA with more info soon. Moving on, we have Suit for Hire. Suit for Hire is basically the answer to the void that Max Payne left us. You have different perspectives from top down to over the shoulder to behind the cam, with bullet time slow motion and diving mechanics, and the shooting looks so fun. Plus you blend that with martial arts and you have a beautiful crafted violent adventure. You can easily switch between the top down and third person at any time, so it's really up to you to choose how you want to play. There's tons of different levels, chapters, and arena levels to put your skills to the test. What I like, other than the normal combat, there's finishers and there's melee, so you kind of feel like an action movie. It's basically John Wick. And then you have to give it up for the actual visuals of this game. It looks great. I mean, the art style is a timeless classic. Surprisingly, you can actually pick up this game right now and get playing. Up next, we have Jump Ship. Jump Ship is going to be one of those games that the moment you see some of this gameplay, you're going to immediately wishlist it without me having to tell you. The first 10 seconds of any of this gameplay will immediately sell you on it. But Jump Ship is a mission-based co-op PvE for up to 4 players where you and the crew of a spaceship transition seamlessly from crewing the ship to on-foot exploration and do spacewalks. So you can engage in intense battles both on the ground and in space and always keep your ship upgraded and intact. So if you were looking to scratch the itch that Starfield did not for you, Jump Ship is going to be the game to play. I am very excited for this one. I love the concept of exploring space and piloting my ship with my friends and also landing on different hostile planets and landing on different enemy vessels and taking them down from within. And the game visuals just look insane. like flying your ship just into the first person. It looks so good. It just looks amazing. I keep gushing about it. I really hope you wishlist this game, seriously. But its core features is jumping across the universe so you can select from a variety of handcrafted mission types with random elements where no run is going to be the same. You can seamlessly go on and off your ship. So once you've jumped with your ship, you can switch between operating your ship or walking on foot and doing planetary exploration. So it's more of what we wanted from No Man's Sky. This is the evolution. Just imagine you're piloting your ship and you just jump out of the airlock. That sounds hilarious to me. You can also play the game completely solo, but I think the game is really going to sell with your crew. I am beyond excited to get my hands on this one. The game is listed as coming soon, so hopefully that means sooner rather than later. Moving on, we have Hunger. Hunger throws you into the chaos of a plague-ravaged Napoleonic Europe. This is a PvPvE extraction RPG that blends brutal melee combat and long-range combat with a deep, long-term character progression. Questing, crafting, scavenge resources, battle unspeakable horrors, and outlast the rival living. This looks like the cousin or brother of Hunted in the best way possible. I love the melee system. The game looks so cool. The shooting looks fun. And I'm very excited that there's a ton of PvE elements with the occasional running into another squad. I'm sure that's going to create some dynamic and pretty intense battles. But I do hope it's more PvE centered than PvP centered. The game has its own player-driven marketplace where you can collect and craft unique things and actually choose a gathering profession. So I'm interested to see how that player economy becomes a thing. And as the player progresses, the end game expands the core extraction loop with distinct PvP and PvE experiences. So including dungeons, boss encounters, and intense PvP combat, it's offering an ever-evolving challenge for all those who survive long enough to face them. It also talks about a deep and permanent RPG skill system. So it does make me wonder if you actually get a skill and you regret doing it, is there no way back? You also have a multiplayer hub where I guess you can socialize and meet other people. But the best part is an enormous build variety with many viable playstyles. But the number one thing that stands out for me is no forced wipes. Every single extraction shooter or extraction game does forced wipes, and I'm so glad that this game doesn't do that. So I'm excited to see how long that lasts for players' attention span. But as they talk about the end game, I'm just excited that they've thought that far. Wishlist Hunger right now. We need more news. We don't have a release date just yet, but it's listed as coming soon. Our penultimate entry on today's list is Beyond Sandbox VR. Beyond Sandbox is a multiplayer VR modding platform powered by Unreal Engine 5 with advanced physics and the creativity of the modding community where anything is possible. Now, if you're not a VR player, I totally understand that probably doesn't sound too appealing to you. But if you are a VR player, you know that everyone is extremely excited about this game. The nuances of animations of what the player has control over is amazing. And the fact that it boasts about being multiplayer is also extra amazing. There seems to be a lot of love and care designed into this game. We don't have too much in the realm of normal gameplay, just a couple of NPCs standing around. You could shoot, you could stab them, you could physically interact with them in almost every way possible. But they're trying to bring advanced player physics into the sandbox. Some people are skeptical of this game, which I guess is warranted. But Beyond Sandbox is built with mods in mind from day one, so they have a really powerful SDK that enables most players talented modders to build almost anything they can dream of. So that does lead to the game being more of a sandbox experience that lets other players create a game within a game. And given enough time, they could literally create probably a masterpiece. But I think the start is really going to be shooting normal NPCs as well as the classic zombie horde mode with friends. But you can wishlist Beyond Sandbox right now. The game comes out in Q4 of 2025. And I know the entire VR community has their eyes on this one, and we are just waiting for more information. The final game on this list is called Alkahest. Alkahest basically looks like modern day Dark Messiah, and I am 1000% all in. Now what we're looking at is probably pre-rendered, but if his gameplay is anything like this one, it will feel almost exhilarating to play something like this one. The animations of what they're showcasing, the fact that it's alchemy instead of traditional magic, and of course it even showcases the Dark Messiah kick. But the combat that they show is awesome. Being able to pick up things and throw stuff around. It literally looks like you're playing a VR game that isn't VR, but I'm just so excited. The animations look amazing. The world looks beautifully crafted, and everything seems to be interactable. You have melee combat, you have ranged combat, and the interactions with the environment take center stage. It's supposed to be a grounded fantasy adventure where the sun rises over the kingdom, it's long casting shadows, and you explore a world mired by turmoil. You'll be able to explore castles, villages, forests, and other realistic settings, and you can meet its residents and talk to them on your journey. So it's a normal video game. If you understand video games, you know what I'm talking about. But my favorite thing is what they've showcased, and they describe it on their Steam page, which has dynamic combat with the focus on interactive environments. So you build your combo and execute it against enemies. You can drop a tree on their heads, kick them off a cliff, set them on fire, all that fun stuff. It's supposed to be a fast-paced, close combat with like an interactive environment taking center stage. You can craft potions, throw a dagger, kick an enemy into a spike, use a rope. It's giving player agency in combat, which is not something you see all the time. And like I said before, instead of magic, it's alchemy. If you don't know what alchemy is, I'm not explaining it to you, but basically you make your own potions and bombs. We need more information about a release date of this game, but you can wishlist this game right now. Keep your eyes on this one. It looks like a fantastic experience, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this one. It's going to have controller support, of course, keyboard and mouse, and I cannot be more excited. And there we have it, my friends. Those are some games I think you should absolutely wishlist right now. Don't miss out. There's everything I showed you is a hidden gem. We looked at things from a single player standpoint to a surprise Star Fox jump scare, all the way up to the classic extraction shooters with a twist. But that's it for me. Look forward to next Wednesday, where I show you some more games you should add to your wish list. And if you're new to this channel, we do fun stuff like this all the time. We cover a lot of VR stuff as well as some flat screen things for future to come. So if you're not already subscribed, now is the best time to do so. Hit the subscribe button, leave a like, a comment. But other than that, I am Drifter from Downloadable Content. You have been awesome, and I will see you next time.